We begin on the planet Corellia, where the boy James T. Kirk hijacks a car and starts driving it down the road. Wait, no. This is young Han Solo hijacking a car and driving it to Kira. He reveals he stole enough to be able to get off the planet, and they kiss. They then get apprehended by a group of people due to Han owing them money or goods or something to someone. It's the third time that we've seen this in this series. Greedo in A New Hope and those Scots from The Force Awakens. Only now, instead of the fat slug Jabba, we have a skinny water slug, the Lady Praxima. She's mad that he botched the exchange that he was doing earlier, and he talks back and pretends to pull the "I'm holding a thermal detonator" trick, only that it's a rock. Just before the slug can eat him though, he breaks a window so that she gets sunburn, and he and Kira escape. Then there's a high-speed hover chase. He eventually escapes through a narrow alleyway by turning his hover car on the side like the Falcon would. Luckily it doesn't get narrower, it just gets stuck. But then they get to a spaceport anyway. They bribe a gatekeeper, and just as they're passing through, Kira is apprehended, while Han is on the other side, of course. After a heartfelt separation where he is forced to run while she's being carried away, he joins the Imperial Navy to become a pilot, the best that's ever been. When asked what his name is, he replies Han. The recruiter then asks, Han what? Who are your people? Han thinks, and then he comes up with, no, I have no people. After a chuckle, the recruiter puts Han Solo. That's right, Han Solo's name is the equivalent to R. John Doe. We then cut to the Star Wars equivalent of Saving Private Ryan, only Han is a confused kid trying to scurry to safety on some planet somewhere. He sees a badass standing on a hill shooting people and twirling their guns like their Master Chief. It's Woody Harrelson, or Beckett in here. He leads them to victory, and they go back to camp to regroup. The battlefield commander tells them that they need to be ready to move out again, and Han gives this guy lip, including the fact that they are actually invading the planet and killing the hostiles. It turns out that Beckett and his crew are criminals trying to steal military supplies. Han tries to blackmail them into allowing him to join, and they just turn him over to the military police. Because he was so ready to give lip earlier, no one believes Han when he's trying to rat out Beckett and his crew, so Han is thrown into a pit to be eaten by a monster. The monster turns out to be Chewbacca. Chewie tries to kill him at first, but it turns out that out of the millions of species in the galaxy, Han somehow learned to speak Shiriwook, or Wookiee speak, or I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, to convince Chewie not to kill him, because why not? Han uses Chewie to break out, and they return to Beckett's group as they are escaping. Of course, Wookiees make good muscle, so Han and Chewie get in the ship. Then they shower together. The group then go to an ice planet from the trailers to rob a section of the train that's full of spaceship fuel. Of course, the guards pop out of a portion of it towards the back, so they cause problems until the train is disconnected, like what happens in every single train robbery movie. Then people on hoverbikes come to attack our anti-heroes with harpoons. One even fights Beckett all badass-like. On the ship that Han and crew are intending to fly away on, the pilot guy is shot in the shoulder when it's boarded. Han comes up to help fly, and the pilot man dies. Then Beckett's love interest kills herself to blow up the bridge to help remove all the train sections except for the one they're stealing. Han flies the ship away, but because the ship piece is weighing them down, and they could die from crashing into a mountain, Han releases that section against the wishes of Beckett. Beckett sure is pissed by this. It turns out that they were stealing for a crime syndicate, and now the boss may have their heads. Han, Chewie, and Beckett go to the boss man to convince him not to kill them. Once at the boss man's yacht, Han runs into Kira, because in the time that it took for Han to be enlisted, she slept her way to the top of a crime syndicate. Han does not bend a knee though. Chewie looks over at the two in envy and pounds drinks wishing that they were Han's firm ass. Boss man, who I suppose I should be calling Dryden, is mad, but Han and Beckett come up with the idea to steal some unrefined fuel and get it to Dryden instead. This involves the Kessel Run. Kira is sent with them to make sure that they don't screw this up too. To do this, Han and company need a ship. Kira decides that this would be a good job for Lando. When they arrive, I shit you not, Glover sounds almost exactly like Billy D. Mad props to him. Han tries to win the Falcon from him in cards, but Lando cheats and takes all of Han's hard-earned lunch money. Kira watches and smiles. Lando joins the team. Also in a couple of lines, Lando confirms that Aurra Singh is probably dead, having been killed by Beckett. Now, I rather liked her when playing Star Wars Demolition on the PlayStation, or when she was a Jedi Hunter in some of the older comics. But no, she is apparently pushed to her death by Beckett. I guess this is setting up Beckett being wrecked by Boba later, so that it's more personal between Boba and Han. Anyway, Lando's ship has been impounded, but of course Beckett can take it off. They do miss the homing beacon that the Javelin guy from the train heist put on it, because no one seems to notice when the Falcon is bugged. This is the third time, I think, that no one's noticed that. Okay, technically first, but you get where I'm going. Han reveals that his dad used to build Corellian freighters just like the Falcon. Just when Han is about to sit and take the co-pilot wheel, as if he's destined to sit there, the totally not K2SO comes in and pushes him out. Kira watches and smiles. They jump to hyperspace. That is nice. I like the sounds, the look, the feel. It's just like the old Falcon. Then Beckett beats Chewie at Djarik, despite his warnings for Chewie not to make the moves that he's making, and Chewie doesn't rip his arms off. That was amusing. Han and Kira have a moment in Lando's closet. During this, Kira and Beckett both warn Han that Kira has done some bad things, and Han should forget about her. Serious foreshadowing. Then we have the confirmation that Lando wants to screw his robot co-pilot, as in the droid can sense heart rate fluctuations and such, and can tell that Lando wants her sexually, without putting her into a proper body. So there's that. They reach the mining colony. The plan is to pretend that Kira is an ambassador and wanting to trade Han and Chewie as slaves. This allows Kira to distract the leader guy while Han and Chewie are working to escape. Chewie literally rips a guy's arms off here. Cool. Beckett kills the security guard and Kira kills the leader. Not K2SO takes the restraining bolt off of a security droid and tells it to run free and free the others. This causes a droid rebellion, which is the exact reason that droids never had a good AI in Legends continuity in the first place. Also, Chewie sees Wookiee slaves and goes apeshit Wookiee shit on the guards. We cut away when the fighting starts getting good. Han delivers a kick to an alien's crotch while Kira and Beckett, both capable fighters, look on in admiration. He then starts stealing all of the unrefined ship fuel. He is then about to be stopped, but Chewie saves him at the last second. Meanwhile, Lando is interrupted from writing his holonovel by the riot going on. In the midst of the riot, Han and Chewie start getting the fuel on board. Not K2SO is reveling in the chaos she has created against the organic oppressors, until she is thankfully shot. Lando is sad and rushes to save her. He gets shot trying to bring her upper body back, but Han and Chewie rush to help. Because Kira is a dragon lady, she starts throwing random explosives and making fiery explosions that can cover their escape. Lando is so sad that Han is given the opportunity to pilot away. Not K2SO dies in Lando's arms, and Kira goes to help Han navigate, which is useful because now there's an Imperial blockade. This is where Han decides to go off course on the Kessel Run, which requires putting not K2SO's brain into the Falcon's navigational computer. Then, because screw tradition, Han says, "I have a really good feeling about this." I know. The original quote wasn't in the last movie, but oh well. It's still a deviation. Also, halfway through the fight, after TIE fighters have been shooting at them for umpteen minutes, Han just now thinks to put power to the rear deflector shields. Chewie then joins as co-pilot because Kira has been doing jack shit anyway. Also, Han literally knocks a TIE fighter into an asteroid, but then decides to destroy the landing gear and scrap the bottom of the ship on another asteroid to use the debris field caused to destroy another TIE fighter. Now that they've dealt with the Empire, they have a breather, until they turn on their lights outside to a pair of massive eyes. A space monster. Then they are close to the mall, which is a gravity well. Oh no. But Han thinks quick and sends off the escape pod, which was actually that piece on the nose of the Falcon that covered up the two, prongs. You know what I'm talking about. Into the mall. He sends the escape pod into the mall, which the creature follows and gets trapped in the gravity well. But the Falcon does too, not unlike, Star Trek 2009. I felt I was watching something familiar with the exploding ship sets and Han stealing that car in the beginning, and power to the deflectors and all that nonsense. Anyway, they inject the ship fuel they stole into the engines, which involves some technobabble, another Star Trek thing, and blast away, creating a sonic boom in their wake. They make it to the refinery in time and offload the fuel. Lando is pissed, since the Falcon is completely trashed. Kira and Han have a moment, but she refuses to leave with him again. Then the biker gang from earlier show up, threatening Beckett and company. Turns out the leader is a girl. Kira watches and looks concerned. Biker girl starts talking about the brutal actions taken against her people, and how the people who did these actions become the syndicate that Beckett and Han are working for. Somehow Beckett is surprised that a criminal syndicate is capable of this. Biker wants the ship fuel to help fight back, since the syndicates are using it to fund their evil actions anyway. Han thinks of a way to fight back against Dryden. He tries to get Beckett, but Beckett's not interested in suicide. He tells Han that if he lives, they can meet on Tatooine for one last heist. Then Han, Kira, and Chewie go to meet Dryden. Kira talks up Han and Chewie, and Dryden brings Kira closer, sensing that something is off. He asks for a sample of ship fuel to be brought to him, because he knows that
it's a fake.
It's a fake. Turns out Han was betrayed by Beckett. No surprises there, really. The syndicate takes the bikers hostage, and Dryden chastises Kira for betraying him. All of this doesn't matter, though, because Han realized that he was going to be double-crossed, so he triple-crosses on everyone, and reveals that the biker gang knew this would happen, and they kill the syndicate thugs that were looking for the real fuel. Meanwhile, with Han and company, the real ship fuel really was with them. It wasn't really a fake, and Han makes sure to lay on heavily that it's real. Beckett, having the only blaster in the room, uses this opportunity to take the fuel and run. Then Han and Dryden fight it out. Kira double-crosses Han this time and knocks him down so that Dryden can monologue about how Han doesn't know Kira, she's so bad. But then she does a triple-cross. Just when it seems that she's about to kill Han, she turns on Dryden and kills him after a brief fight. Han and Kira kiss, and she sends him off to save Chewie. After Han leaves, she takes Dryden's syndicate ring and uses it to place a call. Turns out the leader of the syndicate is really Darth Maul! Yes, if you didn't know, he actually survived the Phantom Menace in both Legends and current canon, and has been in both the Clone Wars and Rebels series. He calls Kira back to him, saying that she's going to start working much closer with him now. Han approaches Beckett. Beckett monologues a little, but before he can shoot, Han shoots first. Kira flies away. Han watches and is sad. Han gives the ship fuel to the bikers. Of course, the bikers name drop that they are really part of the rebellion. Han says he'll never join, and what is literally the only time that this actor has sounded like Han in this whole movie. Han then goes to play cards with Lando to win the Falcon, which has the brain of the droid that Lando loves in it. Of course. And he flies off to Jabba. The end.